How did you get Lionel Messi to wear your shirt?
I managed to get a couple of tickets for the Champions League game. It kind of led on from there. We sent 4 packages. We had one for Iniesta, one for Luis Suarez, one for Xavi, one for Leo Messi. I got a text message on the Christmas Eve. Messi's on his way back to Argentina on his private jet, and he's been pictured at the airport in Barcelona with your black signature t-shirt on.
Trials, tribulations, mistakes, barriers, successes and failures. Hear it here firsthand from those that have grown billion-dollar businesses to those that are just starting out. Winner of the Campaign Publishing Award for Best Business Podcast in the UK, Success is in the Mind is the only place where you can get a sense of business reality in a world full of idealism. Everyone claims to be an entrepreneur, but can everyone live up to the title? What does it take to start a business, to get your product into a high street store or grow a well-managed team? I'm Oliver Bruce, founder and entrepreneur myself. Join me as I interview business leaders and founders from across the globe, delving into what makes them tick, their differentiators and intrinsic motivators. This is Success is in the Mind. Success is in the Mind is proud to be sponsored by Coronation Wealth Management, a professional service providing tailored financial advice to business owners, entrepreneurs, managers and clients looking to grow and protect their wealth or reach their financial goals. The team at Coronation Wealth provides services including retirement, investment, protection and business planning. To find out more, go to coronationwealth.co.uk. On today's show, we've 2 former Scottish footballers, Mark Corcoran and Stephen Robb, a duo who regard themselves not as former footballers but fashion designers and entrepreneurs who have turned a bedroom startup into a global streetwear brand. With celebrity endorsements and social posts from the likes of Lionel Messi, Craig David and Line of Duty's very own Martin Compston, Be Inspired Clothing have nearly 1 million followers on Facebook and some 250,000 on Instagram. We all know how competitive and cutthroat the fashion, sports and streetwear world can be, so from playing football to designing garments, how did they do it? Be Inspired, which launched in 2013, is based out of Glasgow, and I want to know, how hard can it be? Surely it's not as easy as giving Lionel Messi a shirt and hoping for the best. Are they on track to be the next Gymshark? Let's find out. Mark, Stephen, welcome to the show.
No worries, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
So things are going pretty well for you guys at the moment. You've been featured in a lot of national press. You guys have had celebrities wearing your clothing, but actually you've also got a 66,000 square foot distribution centre. And Stephen, I know you mentioned earlier on that actually you're looking at potentially changing the model because of COVID. What does that look like?
Going into COVID, obviously, the business be growing at like a crazy rate. And we took on this big warehouse and we had the whole business working under one roof. So we had our designers, our office staff, marketing team, customer service. It was bolted on right to the distribution centre. Since lockdown, then everybody's kind of went their separate ways a little bit, and we've found that model of working from home has worked really well. We're kind of looking at other options at the moment, just to, especially with the whole Brexit thing that's kicked in as well. We found issues sending product to the EU, so it's potentially a good option for us as well. And maybe in future that we could look at an EU warehouse, or even also we're 20% of our business is in the US now, so there's another option that it's just trying to make us more flexible.
We used to obviously like pile up stock and then try and sell it off, whereas since we've had like a financial director come into the business to help us, he's been like, well, you need to maybe turn over stock a little bit quicker than like storing it for such a long period of time. So we really try to like sell through stock quickly now, rather than like we would used to maybe do it on a 3-month period of get all the stock in, then sell it over that 3 months, have a sale at the end, 3 month period. So we'd hold a lot of stock. Whereas now it's like a 6 week turnaround where we're trying to like get stock in, sell it, get stock in, sell it. So there's never like a big build up of stock like there was before. With our lack of experience, we sort of end up going one way, and we've had conversations with ourselves and other sort of more expertise, and we're looking to maybe sort of streamline the business in another way.
Because you guys, obviously you were sportsmen before you were businessmen, I suppose, but you obviously don't know what you don't know. So why did you make that decision 2-3 years ago to bring in a financial director, having had a good 5 years of business and a great growth? Why did you then go, actually now's the time to bring in an FD so that we can have a look at other areas and reassess? Just
like you say, having expertise that you don't know. I think we were maybe getting approached by a few people saying, oh, can we invest here, or can we get involved here? And a few sort of companies are approaching us, and me and Stephen had no idea about that sort of side of things. And like you say, we played football really we just liked making things, and then we've got like a marketing sort of guy that we met along the way, and he's become a fundamental part of the business, Andrew, and he was brilliant at selling them. So me and Robbo liked clothes, we liked making things, and he was brilliant at selling them, and it really just grew for that. And then everything else, we've sort of like winged it, and we probably got to a point where it just grew and grew and grew, and then it didn't become out of control. It was just like we are not really sure if we probably need somebody in to help us steer us a little bit better of like budgets and marketing budgets and buying budgets. Like sometimes we may be overbuying stock in certain areas and maybe underspending in marketing or overspending marketing, not buying enough stock. And we just felt that somebody with a little bit more expertise and that being a financial director in a company that was very successful and he'd done very well would just help us, guide us in the right direction.
And before, I suppose, you actually even went into figuring out what you wanted to do and where you guys are now, you were running around a field kicking a ball backwards and forwards. You know, how did you get into the world of football, and what was your childhood like to get there, and then why did you jump ship at the end?
I think it wasn't a case of jumping ship at the end. It was a case of our time was up.
Yeah, we got kicked off the ship rather than jumped off it.
Well, you joined the football world late, though, didn't you, Stephen? You came in at 24-ish. I mean, or was that yourself, Mark? You came in at...
that was myself.
You were a labourer before, weren't you? You said, I've had some jobs in my time carrying planks of wood across the yard all day. What else did you do?
Well, I went to university and I worked as a cocktail barman. I worked behind the meat counter in Tesco's. Like I did some pretty bad jobs. Like
thought he was Tom Cruise from Cocktail for a while.
That's what I pretended I was, man. But nah, like I did some, and then obviously I got into football and I probably like. Robb probably worked hard and got unfortunate. I probably didn't apply myself as much as I could have at football. But everyone said to me, "Oh, do you not want to be a footballer?" And I was like, no, I didn't really know what they meant. Like, obviously, I loved it, and I looking at the business now, I don't want to fall short of anything. So I put even more effort into this than I probably did in football. So I've learned from sort of maybe I reached a height, but I maybe could have gone further. And like you look back and go, I should have done more. Whereas I don't want to feel like that in business. I want to make sure that I put everything into it to make sure we can go as far as we possibly can.
So who came up with the idea fundamentally?
Probably Stephen to start with.
And what made you want to start a clothing brand or a streetwear brand then, Stephen? What went through your head? And
I probably just enjoyed like kind of like a little bit of that Del Boy feel of buying and selling. I've always kind of enjoyed that. Like if I could buy a bottle of Coke for 50p and sell it to somebody for £1.50, I'd be buzzing.
Lovely.
but like I've always enjoyed that side of things. So I was playing in Thailand at the time, and I kind of got in touch with a few manufacturers and stuff like that over there. And I was just kind of wandering about the streets and seeing what they were selling on the streets. And like there was loads of T-shirts and just clothing product accessories. And I'm thinking like, I wonder if we could like send these back to the UK. And then I think I've said this before to Mark, it's like, see in football, you don't really keep in touch with loads of guys. But what you do is you like, when you have got a connection with somebody, you do keep in touch. So that, me and Mark, obviously, he was in Inverness at the time playing for Ross County, and I was playing in Bangkok, which is completely different worlds apart. You know what I mean?
So you obviously were out in Bangkok. You realised that actually buying and selling was quite exciting. You said that you started the business on 300 quid, and maybe if you were out there, that's true. But I couldn't see how you started your business with that much money. Is that true?
Yes, true. £300 each.
Oh, 600 quid. That makes more sense.
We designed 4 T-shirts on our iPhones.
Right, okay.
We managed to get the file was... We managed to create a printing file that was just good enough quality to print on a T-shirt. Made some labels for the insides of your T-shirt, hang some hang tags with the money, and then we kind of got a factory to give us 25 each of a style. Managed to... Normally a minimum order would be 100, 200 plus of a style.
How did you do that? Was it because you were playing for their football team?
No, I'd just been kind of like networking over there and amongst like the wholesalers, and I met an Italian guy who I still speak to today. We don't make our stuff there anymore, but like I still keep in touch with the guy, and he's now actually growing at the same kind of rate that we have, and he's making for brands like Puma and Champion.
And in terms of how you then scaled it, so you were shifting this stuff on eBay. You look online at you guys now, you've got Messi, you've got Craig David, you've got the chap from Line of Duty that's wearing your brands. You know, that has propelled you guys into the stratosphere in terms of people that actually understand who you guys are. When you started, did you just pull on a load of, favours from mates in the world of football, tell them to wear your garments and put it on social media? Or was that kind of before that world existed?
it was probably just as that world was taking off. So we in that respect, we probably got a little bit lucky. So like you say, Stephen was over in Thailand and he was sending the product to me in the UK. And this was right initially at the beginning. So we'd set up a website. Stephen was kind of like the manufacturing side, and then I was like basically the distribution-y side. And then we were sending it to like people in Scottish football like Stephen Naismith, Scott Brown, boys that we'd probably played against that had kind of gone on to do better than ourselves and had a bit more of a high profile. And it was mainly sort of Facebook at that time. And we were just like sending them product and they were like promoting it for us. And like say the first 100 t-shirts I think we sold out within a week, and we just had like, I think it was just a Facebook site at that point, Stephen, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a Facebook. I think we maybe started on Instagram, but Instagram, like we were going back to 2013. I don't think Instagram was that prominent. Yeah,
there certainly wasn't influencers.
No, certainly not. And we sold that out, and we just basically reinvested all the money out of those 100 t-shirts into another like 200 t-shirts. And we probably did that for like, we didn't take any money, didn't really touch any of the money, just really invested everything for the first 6 months.
We were probably fortunate because we had our recruitment jobs and our part-time football money that it wasn't our be-all. We weren't trying to survive off that money.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of it does sound, as you rightly alluded to, Stephen, quite lucky. I mean, it sounds like you've just kind of gone from success to success, really. And the question on everybody's lips, and I mean literally everybody's lips, is how did you get Lionel Messi to wear your shirt?
So just kind of through football connections with Dundee United, I was speaking to Andy Robertson from Liverpool. I managed to get a couple of tickets for a Champions League game. I was just chatting to a few people. I managed to get in touch with Phil Coutinho's brother. I got chatting to his brother, and it kind of led on from there. It was like Andy was actually an active customer.
Right.
So we'd sent a package down to the guys, and it turned out obviously that 2 weeks later that Coutinho had moved to Barcelona. So still keeping in touch with his brother, I just sent him a wee message. Oh, can we send over some more stuff to now that he's in Barcelona? Because his brother just followed him about. We sent 4 packages. We'd made them up in the warehouse the next day. We had one for Iniesta, one for Luis Suarez, one for Xavi, one for Leo Messi, and another one for Coutinho, for not forgetting about him. These were sent over to the Barcelona guys. So about 2 weeks later, it was probably a wee bit later than that. There was a picture of Luis Suarez wearing the stuff. We got a few photos.
Was he not in Iniesta's video or Xavi's video or something? When
yeah, I think it was Iniesta's leaving video. Like they'd done like a thing on the Barcelona page, and Suarez had the t-shirt with a big logo on the front of it. I got a text message on the Christmas Eve to say Messi's on his way back to Argentina on his private jet, and he's been pictured at the airport in Barcelona with your black signature t-shirt on. And then I got obviously like looking on Instagram, and he's just constantly getting tagged and stuff. So obviously he was getting photos with like stewards at the airport and stuff like that. And here he was with a t-shirt on. Everybody was saying, so straight away at Christmas, we're posting this thinking this is amazing. And then you get the comments on it's Photoshopped, it's not real. And it's like, well, it's on Instagram. I've not done it. It's just there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's mad.
In terms of actually the issues with the prototypes, though, and the creating of the first product, surely it can't have been the first product was the product that you liked and the product that worked. There must have been some serious issues at the initial stage.
Yeah, I think even now we still have issues with things across the business. Initially, we were in because we were working at Mark's flat for the first 10 months, so 11 before we got our first office. So we had very little overheads to start with. We went from t-shirts to jumpers to sweatshirts. We'd kind of invested all our money into this batch of like, I think it was like 500-600 t-shirts and say 100-200 sweatshirts. So the sweatshirts arrived by DHL, and they arrived, and Mark got them out of the box, and Mark tried them on, and the neck was huge it was almost like a women's off the shoulder crew top.
We were devastated, weren't we?
We were gutted, absolutely gutted. We're like, what are we going to do? We're not going to be able to sell these. The factory wasn't really playing ball. They were like, oh, we'll remake them for you. It's like, you still got to pay shipping costs, stuff like that. So the next batch of t-shirts were arriving later that day. It was our biggest order to date, and it was like 5 huge boxes that came in from Thailand, DHL. Literally, like we opened the boxes and we had the t-shirts out. We had them on. I think it was me, Mark, and Mark's wife, and were literally jumping about because we were so happy that these t-shirts were perfect. We're like, we can keep going, we can survive. So
I know, like if these come in the knackered, oh, we're dead.
yeah.
Did that offset the loss that you made from the women's wear jumpers?
yeah, literally, yeah.
So how much was that then? Can you remember how much that cost you?
The jumpers alone was probably like a couple of £1,000.
Which obviously at that point was massive.
At that time, it was just we were literally just investing like everything into the business.
And how did you go about brokering that then with the factory? They made the mistake, they were being a bit tricky. They said they'd remake them, but they'll remake them wrong.
I'll reiterate, this wasn't my Italian mate, by the way. This was the first time we used someone else.
So what happened? What was the plan there? How did you manage to mitigate that?
Did they remake them?
I think they remade them, and I think the neck went from out here to even just in a little bit. It's still massive.
Yeah, it's still pretty big, guy.
I think we managed to take a hit on the second batch and kind of just recuperate the funds, and we just kind of we've done that a lot. We just go again. We always say that. It's kind of our motto. It's like, we go again. It's like every time there's a new season comes, it's like, all right, brilliant. Last season's done, let's go again. I think we're quite positive like that.
And in terms of actually opening up new lines, new product lines, new sort of styles, who's in charge of that then? Is that you guys that go, we're going to do some trackies now, we're going to do some jumpers here, we're going to do some tees here? Or have you got a team around you now that come up with those ideas?
I think obviously initially the first few years everything was me and Stephen and Drew, and as we've grown we've got a team together. So we've got like garment technologists, we've got designers, and we obviously sit around in a meeting and say, well, we're going to try this, we're going to try this, we're going to try this. But it really does at the end of the day come down to me and Stephen what kind of products we want to make.
Do you actually spend much time in the business anymore? Have you got a team around you guys that are able to run this without you guys being too hands-on?
To be honest, it's kind of still our main focus, isn't it? I know, like we with COVID, we don't go in every day, and I've just got a young family now, so we go on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but like literally 24/7, we're still focused on the business. Do you know what I mean?
I think we've always tried to make like the weekends where it's like a little bit of downtime, but you're never off your phone. Literally, like you're just engrossed in it.
See, because you've got a phone now, your office 24/7, isn't it? Because you've got your phone in your hand.
Yeah. I mean, how do you break up your day? How do you manage your day? How do you get out of bed in the morning? You've had a really bad day. You've had some garments that have come over from your new manufacturer. The neckline's too big. How do you actually make sure that you kind of keep motivating yourself, keep pushing yourself forwards and keep innovating?
Again, from my point of view, I've got a 15-month-old daughter, so I don't really have any choice. she's in there like, right, let's get up, and I'm like, okay, and obviously that's why you do everything. Do you know what I mean?
I've probably also seen like this kind of like the key members of staff that we have now. We do have quite a small team still, and it's like the designers have been working on different collections, and we are collection focused at the moment. So we've got a sustainable range that's coming out. It's our first step into sustainability. So the guys have been working hard on that. So like, we're doing the photo shoots and the content for that over the last couple of days. So you can see even the girls like posting on LinkedIn and social media themselves saying, oh, here's sustainable stuff's coming out soon. We've been working hard. This is our Subject Zero range that's going to be coming out. And you can see the buzz that they get for the brand now as well.
Yeah, I think like Stephen was saying, with the motivation is the buzz that we've created this like tight-knit team that everyone's really invested in all the product, the brand, everything. So everyone gets a real buzz of like when something's coming out, something new, especially like the sustainable collection, or we just launched women's collection recently.
Mm-hmm. Saw that.
And then we've maybe got like a big jackets collection, and everyone's working on the product and the marketing for it. So everyone's really got this excitement of when that's launching. So that keeps you going. Do you know what I mean?
Our sponsors, Coronation Wealth Management, provide a professional service providing tailored financial advice to business owners, entrepreneurs, managers, and clients looking to grow and protect their wealth or reach their financial goals. The owners of a dental practice turned to Coronation Wealth for help with their retirement planning, and this is how Coronation Wealth helped them.
We turned to Chris and the team at Coronation Wealth for help with planning our retirement. With Chris's experience and advice, we built a plan to achieve the level of income required to maintain our lifestyle.
Coronation Wealth Management LLP is an appointed representative of and represents only St James's Place Wealth Management plc, which is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority for the purpose of advising solely on the group's wealth management products and services, more details of which are set out on the group's website www.sjp.co.uk/products. So how big's your team now then?
25, I think, around about 25.
25. And over the last 8 years, you've taken an FD on in the last 2 years. How has that grown? How has that scaled? You've reinvested the money in the first couple of years. At what point did you start to actually believe that the business has a future in terms of good money, and it would be classed as a, rather than a micro business, a sort of a business, an SME to a certain extent?
Probably like the second and third year, Rob. Like I think what the first sort of Black Friday was a bit of like we just sort of been ticking over, and then the first Black Friday it wasn't even really a thing. Again, we kind of got the start of that sort of Black Friday phenomenon, and it wasn't anything like, it probably wasn't even a day's sales what we're doing now, but like back then it was like massive, and it just like we just woke up to all these orders and we're like, holy crap.
It was me and you, wasn't it? It was just me and you.
The way we did things, like you had to just like copy and paste everything.
Can you remember the numbers? Can you remember how much you made in your first year?
I think it was about 120,000 maybe in our first year, and then it was like 500k the second year.
And then when did you break that million mark?
Oh, quite quickly. Like after that, it was literally like we jumped. I would need to look back, but I'm sure it was like 3 million, 5 million, 11. 15.
So how do you guys build a global brand then? How do you guys look at obviously going overseas, going into America, going into the new territories? E-commerce, everyone can do e-commerce, but it's actually about breaking into that market. Amazon helps hugely, but how do you set it up and scale it to be able to actually execute it?
To be honest, probably like we've done everything. We just sort of winged it. We were like, right, we want to go to America, and we just sort of went for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then we just try and make it work as you go along.
These countries that we entered, that like there was no strategy in place, and I think that's what we're aiming towards over the next 5 years, is actually building a strategy of like, this is going to be our plan, our market plan in this country. At the beginning, it was a case of just like, let's throw up our adverts, our content, our videos for our photo shoots, and let's just go from there, and we'll just see what country gains traction a little bit, and that's kind of how we initially started to scale.
Do you think you guys could have done it without each other? Stephen on your own, Mark on your own. Could you have done this?
We were just discussing this yesterday. So I think it's good to have somebody to bounce ideas off and see if there's any problems or like any like worries about anything, or like see if you've only got that bagged up yourself. It's not easy. Like, I think with the fact you've got a mate that and a business partner that you can actually say like, oh, what do you think about this? And we bicker a lot. Like, I think the girls and the guys will tell you in the office, like, me and Tim are like, oh, I don't agree with that. But then like a minute later, it's forgot about.
Who's right though, Stephen? Who's always right? Is it you or is it Mark?
I think you'll think the other guy on the call thinks he's always right.
It's probably, I reckon it's 50-50.
Yeah, to be fair, it's pretty 50.
We probably both offer different things, and I think we both could have done something and been successful with it, but I think we would always been more successful, the two of us together.
And what do you bring to it, Stephen? What's your skill set in terms of what's your skill set versus Mark's?
I'm probably like the more positive one. Like, I'm like, oh, like.
Well, you turned up to this podcast on time and had all the kit. Positive, organised, witty.
Well, there you go. There's what.
Oh, he's left. Where's he gone?
I'm away. See you later.
No, Mark. What do you bring to the team? What's your skill set that Stephen doesn't necessarily have?
I don't know. I think I'm more like a bit more creative, like fashion focused, like with the product and stuff like that. I think like the product's really my passion, and Stephen's very good at. He's probably a little bit more commercial minded with the product, and he's good at he's better with figures and sort of organising things that way. He's certainly more organised than I am.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of, I appreciate Stephen's just jumped off briefly, but we'll carry it on because it just proves that it's not scripted. But in terms of looking back over the last 8 years or so, Mark, at kind of the business as a whole, what's been your key kind of takeaway, key lessons that you have physically learned that maybe you didn't realise at the time?
I don't think you can get too down when things aren't going well. Do you know what I mean? Or too up when things are going good. Because like Stephen was saying earlier, there's always a kink in the road going forward. Like initially, like everything was going amazing. things were flying, and you're like, this is never. And then obviously Brexit hit, and you're like, oh, I've got to deal with that. And then it's a bit of a worry. And then COVID's hit, and you're like, oh, I've got to deal with that. But there's always a way to deal with things. You know what I mean? And having both of us there to bounce each other off and relying on each other has definitely helped through any sort of difficult periods.
How did you manage and sort of navigate the waters of Brexit?
Well, that's the thing. It was very, very difficult because nobody really knew. The main issue has obviously been getting the product from ourselves to the customer in Brexit, and obviously customer confidence with sort of the taxes and duties that they now have to pay, which they didn't before. But even the courier companies didn't know, so we just really had to set ourselves in a position that we felt as though we had everything ready to go, and we did work with the courier companies in that, but then at the final hurdles, some of the courier companies have even struggled with that. So that has been a difficult period, and something we're still really trying to overcome, to be honest. Just the cost of the added cost of sending stuff to certain countries, which I think all brands are probably struggling with now.
But from a financial point of view, I mean, obviously there's been Brexit, there's been COVID, two things that have impacted hugely businesses in terms of cash flow and revenue. Burn rate wise, and what it looks like from a cash flow point of view, did you, before all of this happened, have a sustainable business in terms of cash in the bank, or is that a hindsight and something that you've learned recently?
No, I think we've always, like I say, we're always been self-funded. We've always had cash in the bank, and like I say, Andy coming in's helped us budget things and make sure that we're in a comfortable sort of position. Like anyone, I think COVID and Brexit has been difficult. It certainly has, do you know what I mean? And to be honest, the start of COVID was actually a good thing for us because everyone was at home on their phones looking at things. So I think we were up quite a lot at the initial start of COVID, and then it's sort of flipped reverse a wee bit now because everyone's getting to do things that they haven't done for a year, do you know what I mean? Going out, eating food, going to the cinema, and things are sort of getting back to normal, which is great, but then that creates another sort of difficulty for yourself because people aren't on the phones as much anymore, and they aren't like in marketing channels that we would use, so you have to sort of be more creative in other areas. But like I say, there's always a way to attack things and look at things as well. So
how did you pivot, and who pivoted you in the business? Did you go, okay, we need to be pumping out content here, we need to be looking at these industries, these channels, these areas, or was that your team internally that steered you?
Well, I think again, because we're quite a close-knit team, everyone sort of works together, everyone sort of has a importance. I know the buck stops with me and Stephen and Drew and Andy as well, but we always look to other people's advice. Like I say, we look to the girls in the business regarding like design, and the same with marketing. We like, how do you feel things are? What do you think we can do to get more people's attention? Is there any avenues that we're not exploring? And right now we're looking at sort of getting sort of advice from other companies as well with like creative direction, or I think there's a company called MediaCom that we're working with now, sort of insights and where our customer is and where they're going to be, and what sort of form of marketing they adhere to or like they engage in. So it's all those sort of things that we're looking at, and we're always trying to better ourselves and stay on top of the sort of marketing platforms that we're on.
He's back. Yeah, we're good. Smallish there. You didn't miss much though, Stephen. Mark was just saying how he was planning on shifting the business in the next year and, moving out to Barbados. It was the kind of rough plan of action that he had.
As long as he doesn't steal my laptop charger, I'll be all right.
It's been a turbulent call, a bit like your football career, but that's fine. We can live with that.
Yeah, I can handle anything after that football career.
It's been way smoother than his football career, I tell you that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is saying something. What we were kind of speaking about, Stephen, before you jumped off, because your battery died, was very much around that whole kind of the role split, etc., what Mark brings and what you bring. And you look at the way that these companies, or your company specifically, can scale when you go internationally, and you liken it, and I'm sorry to use the analogy, but you look at Gymshark and what they've done over the last couple of years, the £1 billion valuation now, and they've just gone into the stratosphere. I mean, you guys seem to be scaling pretty well. At what point is it right for an entrepreneur or a business leader to bring in outside forces to guide and steer them?
It's a hard one knowing when the right time is to bring someone else, because like up to this point we've brought in more experienced people to guide us, yes, like on the day-to-day running of the business. it's like we do obviously lack knowledge on how do we get to the next level. Like we always look at like kind of the Gymshark story, and like it was probably very similar, like start up to the way we started, just having a passion for what they were doing. And I do think looking at, they brought in certain people along the way to then help them kick on. I do think that at some point that will happen to us. I do feel they're obviously a different market, very niche with the gym market, whereas like we're kind of offering like a bit of everything, like a lifestyle brand. So it's maybe, do we like knowing what direction to take that? Is like, are we better off just continuing what we're doing, or is there a certain department of our market that we could just really focus on? And that's maybe something that we've not quite hit yet, but it's something that like we've brought in certain people, like we've got like a business consultant that's a way to join on the board, who's got 25 years in the advertising world, that he's working with us closely in our marketing team just now. So hopefully that's kind of a progression of where we'd like to go.
It strikes me, though, as you guys really focusing not necessarily on bringing in people that have previously worked in your field and your industry, but people that have worked heavily in the advertising, the marketing and the content space, for instance, with MediaCom, Mark, that you alluded to, and your board member that's worked in the advertising space, Stephen. So why are you focusing so heavily on that and not necessarily on people that have built and sold clothing brands?
I'd probably say because no one's told us what the right and the wrong thing is to do. I don't think anybody's ever come to us and said, by the way, you need to sell your business in 2 years' time, just make as much you can and get out as quickly as you can. But I think right from the beginning, me and Mark have always said we wanted this company to last for, I would even say longer now, but like when we first started, it's like we don't want it to last for 2 years, we want it to last for 20 years. So probably looking at like the third and fourth year, we were getting approached from like every retailer in the country to put our product in. And we were very like, oh, it's our baby. Like, if we sell it to you, then you can do what you want with it. Sort of like go into sale whenever you want. And we were very like protective of what. And maybe looking back, that we pulled out of wholesale completely. And it's maybe something that we probably shouldn't have done. And it's something that we've got a sales agent in Manchester who's actively like pushing our product into certain retailers at the moment. So maybe we'll look at, there is good possibility that that's going to increase over the next 2 years as well.
So what did wholesale bring to the business back then that you kind of regret now? Obviously you're selling it cheaper to people that are going to resell it with a margin, and do they take more control over it, or what's the connotations there?
I think it's just because you're online, not always people can see the product. I think people, I know that people say the high street's sort of dead or whatever, but I do think it brings that sort of justification for your paying that price for your product, or somebody sees it in a shop like, oh, that's a good brand. It's like, it gives you that sort of, I don't know, caliber of like a brand being in a shop. It's like people think, oh, that's a good brand, whereas like they maybe see it online like, who is that or what is that? But when we're in Foot Asylum or like on ASOS, people see that and they go, oh, that must be a really good brand because it's sitting there. I go in, I see the product, I feel it, and they maybe buy something and then they go, oh, I wonder what else they've got online. So you're actually gaining customers that maybe wouldn't ever see you online, but go into shops. But then once they've been in the shop to buy your product, then they'll maybe go online to have a look at anything else you offer. So I do think we missed that.
But how hard is it to get into the wholesale and the retail world on the high street? You know, if you were going to go to ASOS and you wanted to bang your product in there, they're going to get thousands of people every day asking that. Sure,
they do. I think from what we've always done, it's they've always approached us. So it's never been, we've got a sales agent who's actively working. So we stock about 50 independents down in England and Ireland. The EU, we did have quite a few in the EU, but Brexit's kind of put the brakes on that sort of thing, just for the export duties and taxes and stuff like that, additional ones. So our sales agent is working on behalf of us. So it's a case of, we've got a showroom in Manchester that buyers are constantly viewing the product. So every time we've got a new collection coming, it's down to Manchester, it's in the showroom, it's set up how we want it, and people can go in and have a look at that if they're interested in the product.
So scaling's coming up in the future, maybe not exiting per se. Mark, do you want to build a legacy of your business for your child, your little 1-year-old? Is that something that you look at and you go, I want my little kid to look at this in 15 years' time and go, Dad did that?
I don't think it's initially what I thought, because I didn't have like a child at that point. I just wanted to create something, like probably from a competitive nature at football. I wanted to be the best, or I just wanted to create something, and then it was like challenges of, can I get it there? Can I get it there? Can I get it there? Mm. So it's constant challenges of, can I get it bigger? Like you look at Gymshark and you're inspired by them. Like, can we do that? Do you know what I mean? And I know it's in a totally different field when we're not really competing with them, but it is something that you look at and go, oh, that's an amazing thing they've done. Why can't we do that? And you are competing with yourself and other people to sort of get better all the time.
Mm-hmm. So, Mark, what does success physically look like to you?
That's it's a hard question to answer. Do you know what I mean? I think people have asked me that in the past, like, oh, does it look like this? Or if you turn over 100 million, does it look like that? I don't really know. I think success is just, again, probably from football, it's like we just try to get better all the time. If we did that and the product got worse, I wouldn't be happy with that. Do you know what I mean? I want to make the product better. I want to make the brand look better. I want the turnover to be better. I just want everything to be getting better all the time. Positive growth. And Stephen, I've given you all of about a minute there to think of your answer. So what does success look like for you?
I'd probably just say like being happy and stuff like that. Being happy and having a bit of freedom. And I always enjoy like going to work and seeing people happy with their jobs. Like, I hate the people who think, oh, I've got to go to work today. Like, I still get that feeling on a Sunday night of going, I don't ever want to experience like, oh, I've got to go to work tomorrow. When I actually go, it gets to Sunday night, it's like, oh, I'm going to the office tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be good fun. We've got that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I would love the staff to have that attitude as well.
Do they?
I'd hope so.
But in terms of building a company culture, how do you do that? It's not that easy to do.
I think it just comes from our enthusiasm a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and Stephen are so enthusiastic about the product, so enthusiastic about the brand, and we try and be in the building all the time to have that enthusiasm rub off to like Drew and Andy, and then the managers, and then that filters down from the managers down to the staff as well. And like I say, we're very positive about the brand. We love it. We, like Stephen says, we buzz to go to work every day really, and we take pride in everything we do. So, and we want it to be the best. And so I think like the people that we work directly with have got that enthusiasm. Do you know what I mean? Like the girls in the design team and the garment team, they've definitely got that enthusiasm because when they help make that product and then they see it sell and they get a massive buzz off that. And then the marketing team, we want them to be creating amazing content. So when they see that in a marketing campaign or online or on a billboard, they're like, wow, I contributed to that. And they get a sense of like achievement. So that's what I want everyone to feel.
And in terms of the people that are going to buy the product, where can they go to find Be the Brand? Where can they go? Is it ASOS? Is it your website, influencer marketing? What does that look like?
I think we've always been a direct-to-consumer business, like directing people from our social media ads to our website. I think that will be at the forefront. That will continue with the 5-year plan. Is we would like to increase the wholesale so that people can go to the store. So there's an avenue for everybody can actually do it. Not everybody shops online. This is maybe running a wholesale business. I actually don't shop. Running an online business, I actually don't shop online like that. I am more now because of COVID potentially, but I was very much, if I wanted clothes, I would like to go to the stores and try it on and make sure it fit me right. I do think the model has changed over the last 18 months to 2 years, but again, it's like it's having those touch points for everybody.
Yeah.
If it is stores, if it is just online, it is people seeing footballers wearing the product, or it is seeing actors wearing the product, musicians. It's just having as many touch points as possible for our brand. I think that's the plan going forward.
I think we like it being majority online is because we can tell the story of the brand as well. Like this is our brand. This is how we want the brand to look. This is the story really. So when people see all our marketing or when they come online, they kind of get an idea of what the brand looks like or stands for. Was we would like that to be the majority rather than shops take it and they maybe change the story or the image of the brand. So I think that's maybe what we're rightly or wrongly we've been a bit protective of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether that's necessarily a bad thing, but I suppose time will tell, and you'll look exploring going back into wholesale in the future. And for people that want to get into business, maybe not necessarily into football, but into business, how do they go about doing that? What's the best thing for a startup person or an individual entrepreneur to do?
I would probably say research. They have to do their research on what they're getting into. And I would always say that anybody wants to start a business, it doesn't matter if it's a plumbing business or a fashion business or whatever it may be. You have to have a passion for it. I think if you've not got a passion for what you're doing, then it's pointless.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like it almost needs to be not be a business. It almost needs to be like not a business. Don't think of it like I'm sure some people do. So I'm starting this business, but like we started, it was a hobby, and it was something we were passionate about. We loved doing it, and it grew into a business that we could sustain and live off. But like Stephen says, I think having a passion for something, because eventually it's going to become something that you need to do all the time, and you need to put all your effort into. And see, if you don't have that passion, I just don't know if you're going to put 100% into it, like, or it's not going to be as easy anyway.
No, indeed. And we put 100% into this podcast, even with the trials and tribulations, the fact that we went onto 6 different devices to make this thing work. But we got there in the end. But boys, thanks ever so much for jumping on the podcast. Those that want to go and buy the product, what's your website? How can they find it?
The website's beinspiredclothing.com. You'll also find us across social media, Facebook page and Instagram, Twitter.
Spot on. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Super.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks, Oliver.
Thanks for listening to this episode. For more information, check out the description where you can find exclusive video snippets on my YouTube channel, as well as contact details and links. If you've enjoyed this episode, please show your support as always by subscribing. If you or someone you know should be on the show, please email me via oliver@pinpoint-media.co.uk and I promise I'll get back to you. Remember, there's never a good time to start a business, but in business, you should always have a good time. Take care. Success in the Mind is proud to be sponsored by Coronation Wealth Management, a professional service providing tailored financial advice to business owners, entrepreneurs, managers and clients looking to grow and protect their wealth or reach their financial goals. The team at Coronation Wealth provides services including retirement, investment, protection and business planning. To find out more, go to coronationwealth.co.uk. This podcast is supported by our media partner, Blocks & PR, who represent some of the most powerful brands within the luxury, lifestyle and fashion sector. Go and check them out at blocksandpr.com.